The power dynamic in the DCU has shifted, and that is because we have now begun, and it is James Gunn's Creature Commandos, and man, I'm not even gonna bury the lead. It does not disappoint. What's up, my nuttals? Wow, what an unbelievable start to the DCU. Creature Commandos has launched this morning, and it is the first premiere in James Gunn's vision of the DCU. And let me just say, I see it. I see the vision. And this piece, I believe, is going to tickle or scratch that James Gunn very specific itch that he has been missing, that we weren't sure was going to happen, because all those images and things of Superman and everything coming out, Corn Sweat and the Hope and everything that's supposed to be Superman in that style. This isn't that. This is the same James Gunn who brought us the Suicide Squad, and the same James Gunn who brought us Guardians of the Galaxy. This is firing on all thrusters. This is shooting with both barrels. This is all the different euphemisms I can give for aiming a gun accurately. Either way, James Gunn's doing an amazing job. Man, so the first 2 episodes have dropped on Max. Watch them if you haven't, because we're going to spoil the heck out of it. And it's what it seems. It's not, so there's no big story or overarching seasonal plot yet that I can see. So right now, the story begins is pretty simple. With Waller and Flag, this is Rick Flag Sr., this is the father of Rick Flag Jr., and there's several things that get established out the gate. So what they've done is they are introducing elements right now. And remember, James Gunn said, until something is mentioned from the past, it is not canon. Once it gets mentioned, then you know that event happened. This is a great example of that. So Waller calls Flag, and they start heading down, and he's like, I thought you guys aren't allowed to do certain things, that the government closed you down since your daughter outed you. Okay? Task Force X, Suicide Squad, can't operate currently because her daughter outed her. When did that happen? Peacemaker Season 1. Now, that doesn't automatically make all of Peacemaker Season 1 canon. What it does is that makes that event. So as James Gunn has described it, as events occur from the past, if they're mentioned rather from the past, then that event becomes canon. So the other thing is we're introduced to a brand new villain who's a Themysciran we haven't seen yet in DC, and that's Circe. Circe, who's a Themysciran sorceress, or a Themysciran witch, if you will. She's currently fomenting an uprising in Corto Maltese, and that's why they have asked for help. So Waller has sent Flag, along with a very unique team. We're talking Task Force M, or the Creature Commandos. Task Force M, or the Creature Commandos, consists of the Weasel. It consists of Dr. Phosphorus, or Mr. Phosphorus, whatever his name is, played by the voice of Alan Tudyk. There's a fish girl, and there's the Bride, played by Indira Verma, who does an amazing job. Can I just tell you, if we ever get an opportunity to see Indira Verma in live action as the Bride, it will be unbelievable. Of course, you can't have the Bride without eventually having Frankenstein himself. David Harbour brings that voice to life. James Gunn's brother plays the voice of not only the Weasel, but also the voice of G something or other, G robot or something or other. Anyways, it's basically a Nazi killing robot from the 40s, and who has survived at this point. It's very fun, and of course they're being controlled by electrical whatever the hex. This is not. I am so glad this is not a kids cartoon. I'm gonna pre-warn you right now. If you're like, oh, Creature Commandos, let me just put my kid here to watch this thing, and you're gonna let them run off, big mistake. Because there's all kinds of, there's nudity, mature content, suggestive situations. I say suggestive situations. There's flat out, yes. As an animated series, they don't leave a whole lot to the imagination, and that's real. So, what does that do for the rest of the DCU? Well, right now we're establishing a whole lot of things. They also established the fact that Rick Flag's son was killed, which means that event did happen. And as they continue on, you begin to learn a lot more. It's so funny because when they get to the place they're supposed to be at, the princess of the place her country is very like, we love America, to the point that they know a lot of our pop culture references, but they're just like about a decade or more behind. It's actually pretty funny. So specifically, we get to see the bride's background. You get to see the fact that Dr. Frankenstein rather, made her, and he made her for Frankenstein. The problem is Frankenstein couldn't handle that you have to teach them and they have to learn and the whole thing. And so what happens in that process? She falls in love with Frankenstein, which breaks his heart. So apparently they've been fighting across 200 years worth of, or more, of events. And you get this really great flashback in episode 2 of all those things going on. It's wonderful. And so he's coming, and I do believe he's going to join the Creature Commandos. So we'll see more about all of that. But anyway, the animation's really good. It's so funny because this feels like an American attempt at anime. Meaning, if you look at the eyes and the way some things are done and some of the effects and whatnot, I love the aesthetic they're going for. I would have thought it might be just this particular storyline, but the truth is the intro and everything else is very much that grungy, it's punk polka, which is like a thing apparently. And I love it. The music's good, it's fun. You do get to see James Gunn as an animated character, which I thought was fine. Look, the haters are gonna hate, you gotta understand. They're gonna hate everything. But James Gunn thus far still has a pristine track record in my opinion, making him arguably one of the most consistent comic book filmmakers, I think, in our generation. The people might argue that Kevin Feige did some stuff and whatnot, and he was like, oh, Kevin Feige was an associate producer or a PA or whatever on X-Men and everything else, and he's been involved in a lot. Yes, but James Gunn as a filmmaker proper has been knocking it out of the park since Guardians of the Galaxy, without a doubt. Anyone who says otherwise, you're selling something, man. This is amazing. This feels very much. It has the tone of like Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad, and this is a great tone for this. I'm really interested to see whether or not this will be that diametrically different a tone from like Superman and other things that are going to come out, and I hope it will. I'm pretty sure it's going to. So yeah, comment below. Let me know your thoughts on the whole thing. But there you go. Now you know. If knowing's half the battle, you're halfway to being a know-it-all yourself. What is the know-it-all index for Creature Commandos, the series premiere, the 2-episode series premiere? I'm gonna honestly, as much as I'm normally the guy who's like, I want this to go somewhere, blah blah blah. I'm gonna give this easily, hands down, an 8 out of 10. There's so many other elements story-wise that are coming into play in this whole thing. All right, guys, do me a favor, lock it in, subscribe to the channel, click a little bell icon, notify when new content drops, because welcome to the Know-It-All Nation, and welcome to James Gunn's DCU. Never forget, everyone loves a know-it-all.